2, 1.
You're listening to KAZ Radio. You just tuned in to the Children's Right Council of Cleveland. Big voices for little people. In the studio today, we have Michael Cherry of the Children's Right Council of Cleveland. We have Jonathan Dybeck.
Hi, this is Marianne Dybeck from the Children's Rights Council of Cleveland. We're child support, child custody advocates. We're live the first Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m. on kazradio.org, or you can listen on demand anytime by logging on to kazradio.org.
Good evening. You're listening to Children's Rights Council right here on KAZ Radio. And if you'd like to get in and talk to us tonight, you can call 1-646-478-4905. My name is Neil Grossman. Sitting
05. You always say, it's 0.
Okay,
it's
05. Are we going to have this? We've been doing this for 10 years. They get it. It's the one at the bottom underneath the other 9 keys.
0. It's not an O.
Would you please quit screwing up my intros?
Mm-hmm. Well, if they want to call in again, what's that number? At least you didn't transpose it. 1-646-478-4905. We have a wonderful guest this evening. Would you like to introduce our guest?
No, because first you have to give the website so they can come watch your shoes that you made such a big deal about.
Yeah, you can see my shoes.
If you would like to watch us, you can go to kazradio.org, which I'm assuming you probably are already on one of our websites if you're listening to us. But if you'd like to see us, please log in at
K-A-Z.
That's what did I say?
Oh, you did, sorry.
Okay, forget it. I'm done.
It's kazradio.org.
A lady that I have known for 95, 6?
Has to be after 97. So
okay,
maybe
it was right after I actually got involved with Fathers and Mothers for Equal Rights, so it was 97. Roz McAllister is in the studio.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm just great.
When I first came across you, we were doing things like helping people get their children back from those nasty people downtown.
Yes.
Yep. Oh, you want me on camera? Nobody wants to see me, Pastor James. Pastor James, our producer. Anyway.
But anyway, the organization that you're speaking about is Children's Services?
Yes. I'm the president and one of the co-founders of Ohio Family Rights, grassroots organization. I'm also on the board of directors for American Family Rights. I am a special liaison now for NOPE, National Organization for Parental Equality. So I'm getting around and helping out where I can, when I can.
And you're doing something else, I think, to further the cause.
Yes. I'm running for the State House. I think I've done about all I can do out here. It's time to go into the lion's den.
Good for you, girlfriend.
And I couldn't think of somebody better to get the word out.
Thank you.
And to be honest with all of our listeners, this is the first night I've ever met you, but I've heard a lot of good things about you and your cause.
Thank you.
Neil asked if we could have you as a guest, and I said absolutely. So we talked a little bit before the show about what you want to accomplish when you do get in office.
Right. One of the big problems with the way Ohio does children's services, we have 88 separate agencies. A different agency for every county.
Okay.
We are under a minority way of administering children's services here in Ohio. It's called the State Oversight County Administered. Well, what we really have in Ohio is counties do whatever you want and state look the other way.
Huh. Is that a surprise to you?
Not in Cuyahoga County, no.
Oh, Cuyahoga County is mild compared to Summit County.
No. Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we don't rank first in something. How about that?
Yeah,
Summit
for once.
County Children's Services has a lot of problems.
They have 11% involvement in families. I've heard horror stories that they will even pull a child for a non-working kitchen appliance.
No way.
One family that I dealt with,
You see, then they would be putting me in jail for life because I'd be killing somebody if it was
honey, you're
my
going to
job.
go to jail for life at some
Oh,
point.
yeah, well, we're all surprised that only one caseworker that we know of has been seriously injured down there.
By a client, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
How?
she was beaten and raped a few years back down there.
By one of the clients.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is amazing that more violence doesn't happen in these administrative.
Oh, definitely. I mean, one family, the way they do it down in Summit County is they bastardize juvenile rule 6, which is what officers would use when they come on a scene, say a violent murder or something, and there's children there, and they take custody of the children. They take the children to children's services. That's a rule 6. In Summit County, the caseworker just doesn't like you, and she will call Akron police and have them come do a rule 6. Well, that kind of goes against the spirit of Rule 6, and I can't get the attorneys down there, the court-appointed attorneys, to get these cases dropped strictly on the misuse of a juvenile Rule 6. I've heard stories as many as 13 officers before one of them would do a Rule 6, and that was the sergeant. He wanted his 12 guys back on the road.
Okay, you need to clarify that a little bit for me.
Okay.
So Rule 6, they go in and just remove the child.
The police officers,
And
law
why-
enforcement.
And they're not supposed to? Or
They can if they see something.
But you
Okay.
think this is being abused?
Oh, it's being terribly abused in Summit County.
And it's called Rule 6?
Yeah, juvenile rule
The
6.
state of Ohio?
Mm-hmm.
ORC?
Rules of court.
Okay, oh, gotcha. Okay.
Rules of court.
Yeah.
And so they misuse that.
Why are they misusing it, do you
They
think?
can.
Yeah.
But don't police officers, don't they hate the extra paperwork? I mean, that's
They
what I've
don't
always
have that
heard.
much to do in a Rule 6. They hand the kids off to Children's Services and they do the paperwork.
Ah, that answers a lot of questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, do we need to educate the police stations on?
Yeah, and here in Cuyahoga County, getting them to do a Rule 6. Well, in Cleveland, I've even had them not do a Rule 6 when Dad stabbed Mom. Or was it the other way around? Anyways, they left the kids there with the grandmother in the house. With the blood.
She didn't stab anybody.
Well, true, but all the blood is still in the
I
house.
know, right?
It's all cleaned
How
up.
old
but,
were these children? I mean, that had to be traumatic for them.
They were under 6. And it was in my old neighborhood. That's how I know about it. I knew the neighbor next door, and they wanted to know why the kids weren't taken. They called me to find out why the kids weren't taken. Because Grandma was drunk, and they left the kids with her. That's Cleveland police. I don't know. Yet, by the same token, a dad got violent, ripped a handle off a car, and Cleveland police said to the grandmother they're his kids, we're giving them back to him.
Yeah, life is so interesting, isn't it?
So you've got both ends of the spectrum because
Yeah.
every county is different. Now, it's supposed to be state oversight. State comes in each county every 2 years and does what's called a CPO review. Can't remember exactly what the CPO stands for, but it is a review of all areas of the children's services from initial intake visit all the way through adoption. And they're given percentages. Now, the problem is when they come to Cuyahoga County or they go to Hamilton County, they pull 20 cases.
That's what I was going to say. They reach into a file cabinet and they pull a file out and they go through that file.
20?
That's
Out
what
of how
I
many?
didn't
Out of
even.
how many?
Exactly.
To be honest with you, I didn't even think it was that many. 'Cause
It depends on the county. If it's a smaller county, they take samples as small as 5.
So they're just sampling everything.
Right.
And they look through it and make sure everything was done. Now, if they do not get a good grade on something, the remedy is to do a improvement plan,
For what?
whatever they got a bad grade on. That's it.
Now,
The end.
Now, I've been removed from doing the children's services
Mm-hmm.
work for about 10 years now. And if I remember correctly, the 1 year they came in, they pulled the files. Their improvement case was to have somebody come in from the state and do a training for 2 hours.
Mhm.
And they were all set. You came to the training, you're done.
That's it. And there is no real penalty for doing it wrong. Well, one of the things I would like to do is to amend the Ohio Administrative Code, which handles this, to the county who doesn't pass above a certain percentage. Anybody under 90 is wrong as far as I'm concerned. Number one, pull 1% of open cases.
That
So here
would
in
make
Ki-
more sense.
Right, rather than just 20, 1%. So that if you get down to Clinton
I still don't
County,
have an idea of. You said they pulled 20 cases out of how many? I'm sure this is
depending on
thousands
the thousands.
Well, the year that I was involved, Marianne, there was 12,000 cases that year in Cuyahoga County.
Yeah, just to give our listeners an idea.
Right, and currently they've come down. Currently, I think there's between 6,000 and 8,000 cases open, but to pull only 20 cases, that's not enough of a sampling, I don't feel.
Yeah, that's
I think
pitiful.
1%, so that you get someplace like Dark County, Ohio.
I never heard of that.
Well, there's 88 counties. There's going to be one you don't hear of. They may have a whole 25 open cases because it's farmland. They don't have a large population. So pulling 2 or 3 cases, okay. You know?
Right, yeah.
You'd get a good sample. But then I want real oversight. If you do not pass, if you do not get 90 or better, you have somebody from the state in an office in your county. Your county is paying for the hotel, the car, the meals, the space, and they are looking over whatever it is part of the review that you failed. They're looking over every single case that's coming through for a period, depending on the score, up to a year.
We're going to need manpower for that.
Not really, because what they're doing now, they already have manpower for, and they're all just sitting down in Columbus answering telephones
These are the
and
same
giving
people
out my number. They don't.
I give out your number all the time. You
Well,
want me to
that's
stop?
fine. No, never, Neil. But the thing is, we've got the state of Ohio giving out my phone number.
Can I tell the story about child support?
What story? Which one should I say?
Yeah.
I get a phone call from a gentleman who's having problems with his child support. I said, well, where'd you get my number? Child support told me to call you.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I get 12 or 14 calls referred to me by child support to help fix their problems all the time.
Oh, you
Yeah.
mean where the 25% of all payments are wrong one way or the other?
I never heard that stat, but I'll buy it.
Yeah,
I'll
either
buy
they're
it.
giving it to okay, off a little bit here. Say gentleman has 2 exes with 2 children. And they're taking his child support out of his check, but they're sending them all to ex-wife number 1, and ex-wife number 2 is not getting any money at all. And
Right.
the state doesn't take it back from ex-wife number 1. They tell the dad to make it up, and he can sue civilly ex-wife number 1 to get the money back.
I agree with you. I have a very similar case this past week where the mother, there's three parents involved, 4 children, the mother and 2 different fathers, 4 different children. Social services got involved, gave all 4 children to the grandparents. So the grandparents have custody of these 4 grandchildren. So they're receiving money from the county for these children, but one of the fathers is actually paying child support. So say he's paying like $600 a month. All these 4 children are on the same order from social services. So his child support is being dispersed to all 4 of those kids.
And they're not
the
even
state
his.
Right. The state is collecting it and dispersing the money to the family. So they came to us to get this one child taken off the order, and we're working on that right now.
Oh, and I love too when they age out.
Our producer's saying something. Commercial, 2 minutes.
You do sign language too. I'm impressed.
Oh, and this means hippo. I learned that from Sesame
This is
Street.
Jonathan, Children's Rights Council of Cleveland. I support shared parenting from experience. Sometimes divorce is inevitable, but done the right way, more children like myself can be saved the misery of being hit by the shrapnel of their parents' disputes. Kids don't need money to be happy. We don't need a big house or a Mercedes. What we do need is unconditional love from both parents, no matter if we live in the same house or not. We need to feel loved and safe. Yes, all you parents, it's as easy as that. The Children's Rights Council of Cleveland offers many services to parents who are experiencing legal and emotional issues while trying to get shared parenting agreements in place. Some of the services offered are an education and understanding of legal processes, including, but not limited to, your rights, responsibilities, and laws that apply to child support and child custody. Motion review. Attorneys are paid directly from our clients to review motions needed for court. The staff at CRC does not recommend that anyone file a motion without an attorney opinion and review of the case. Court companionship. CRC's director or a staff member can accompany you to court to make the experience less stressful to both the client and opposition. Supervised visitation. If the court orders you to do supervised visits, CRC has a facility that fosters parent and child relations, including board games, miscellaneous toys and arts and craft, and finally, all the kids' favorite game, the Wii. We also offer free legal clinics, and of course you already know about our radio show. To reach CRC's office, please call 216-227-9111. See what we can do to help you. Think about what I said, parents. And you lawyers out there, too, who like to drag out these battles, remember the children. This is Jonathan, representing the child's best interest from the Children's Rights Council of Cleveland. Peace, Cleveland.
Hi, this is Marianne Dybeck from the Children's Rights Council of Cleveland. We're child support, child custody advocates. We're live the first Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m. on kazradio.org. Or you can listen on demand anytime by logging on to kazradio.org.
You're back listening to Children's Rights Council Radio here on KAZ Radio. Our in-studio guest is Roz McAllister. She's running for the House. She's going to make changes, I hope, with a broom and just sweep some of that garbage away.
Love to.
If you would like to get in with a question, you can call 646-478-4905. And I forgot to tell you at the beginning of the show, because Marianne was messing with me, that we are not attorneys, and it's just an opinions that we're giving out. It is not meant to be in any way, shape, or legal advice. Are you glad that you got me on now? Pastor James, our producer, told me that I need to lose weight because he's getting me from the side
No,
because I
he said you
refused.
did lose weight. I heard him.
No, he didn't. He
We
said
all
I was
heard him.
fat. That's
no,
what he said.
No, he did not say that.
He did. He insulted me again. But I can take it. Anyway,
Back to the show.
back to the show. We like to have a good time, but we're talking about some serious stuff. Question for you.
Remember, there was one more thing we had to do. We were having her on the show, so we have to...
Oh, yes. If your opponent has an opinion that they'd like to express, they're more than welcome to come in at another time. We have to do that. That's equal opportunity.
Right, because we are Children's Rights Council. It's an advocacy group. We're not proponents of any...
Political
Thank you.
aspirations.
Thank you.
But
Yeah,
what if,
so-
but I'm going to have to quit because I want to run for president,
Thank God.
or at least
But
county
anyway.
commissioner.
Back to Roz.
Dear,
I need.
there are none anymore.
Oh,
They're on
It's
what?
called Issue 6.
darn. So I guess I'm not getting that free porch.
And might I say that although you guys are not political, those here in the Cuyahoga County, Cleveland area, pay attention to who you're voting for county council.
Oh, here,
those
here.
are the people who are going to be over children's services
Right.
starting in January.
It is so sad that when people go vote, they don't really do their research before they vote. And very
Wait.
good statement. Please do your research before you vote. Know who you're voting for.
Remember, if their name is Sweeney, O'Malley, Russo, make sure you check the box. That was sarcastic. I was kidding.
But
I should
anyway,
hope so.
back to children's services. Is it okay if I change the subject a little
Sure.
bit? Are you familiar with the article that came out in the Plain Dealer? It was probably about a month ago. and it was talking about the children's services here in Cleveland, Ohio, and it was saying how they don't take as many cases as they probably should because they're screening more calls now. Are you familiar with this article?
Yes.
You wanna
And
talk
I
about
happen
that?
to agree that they're taking Deb, the current director, Deb Forkas, is an excellent director.
Okay, so what's going on? It was my
Here's the
understanding.
thing.
I have one specific question.
Okay.
ORC specifically states that any complaint called into the social service agency must be investigated. Am I right?
No, you're not.
Okay, see, that's where I was hung up on because I really believed that. So to
No.
read that in the paper that they're not investigating every case kind of threw me.
Okay, there's certain things they investigate, certain things they don't. And then what they do investigate have a priority. You have a week to get out on some things, you have immediately to get out on others. Part of that CPO review I was talking about was following those guidelines. For instance, it is not an investigatable offense for a child has not been properly immunized.
Okay.
Okay, because that
Okay.
can be a religious whatever. Okay,
So
that's
they don't
not
have
something.
to investigate. They just
No,
say,
the other
okay.
thing is not credible referral. You don't call and say, listen, my neighbor said that her niece said when she was over last week. Okay, no firsthand knowledge.
Okay, so my
Got it,
ex-wife beat my kid with a 2x4, and I call that in 6 times in a month. Do we keep investigating every 6 times?
They should have the same worker continue the same investigation. Okay.
You're being
The
funny.
problem
I
is
swear to God, that was what was called in on a neighbor of mine. It was the ex-husband trying to figure out a way to get custody for. Swore they subpoenaed the tapes, which they're not even supposed to be able. You can't get them anymore.
no.
But at that time, they got the tapes. They proved it was him, and they were harassing her, telling her that she was a lousy mother. They kept coming out to the house.
How long ago was this?
10, 11 years ago.
Things have changed,
Yeah.
thank God. For one thing, we've changed directors. The last director we had, you were talking about the plain dealer.
Yes.
They were talking about returning kids that were injured.
Yes.
Those were prior to the current director. Those kids were returned. Okay, it is honestly, I swear from anecdotal evidence, it is easier to get your kids back after 6 months of sobriety off of crack cocaine than it is if you have a dirty house.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. That's depressing.
The other thing is, everybody thinks that children's services is funded totally by the federal government.
And who funds it?
It's 52% funded by the feds. 48% come from local levies, state.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Okay,
either.
so I actually proved to Jane Campbell that it was cheaper to keep kids in a home.
Where is she
the
now?
best
Where
best
is
mayor
Jane
Cleveland
Campbell?
ever
I know.
had.
I haven't heard her name in
No.
forever.
This was back when she was commissioner.
Oh, okay.
This is a long time ago.
Yeah.
I should talk. I'm wearing her red jacket. Anyways, she was famous for red jackets. But,
Yes, right.
I proved to her it was cheaper to keep kids in the home and have a caseworker and have in-home support than it was to put them in foster care and pay our 48%.
It's too bad you had to actually prove that to her.
Well, you didn't expect her to know how to work a calculator, did you?
Oh, I mean, I gave
liked her.
in the same time, and this was back we'd lost 3 children, back to back. 2 children's services weren't watching close enough, and 1 was in foster care. So it was both sides of the coin, and we had lost 3 kids in a month. And I sat down and I figured that out, and then I also figured out a way. And this would have been back maybe 98, 2000, how much it would cost for every caseworker in the field to have a laptop and a printer. And this is before Wi-Fi and all that. And I figured it out for 300 units at per each prices. and all the software so that a caseworker could walk into the house and actually print out a report of her visit to give to the parent.
They don't
If
want
there
that.
were any referrals, they could be done immediately. And there was linking capability at the time so that they could take their laptop back to the office and just hook it up and download. And it was just over $1 million. Instead of using my plan, they got $900,000 worth of new software that wouldn't run on their old computers.
Wow.
Sounds like CISA.
Yeah.
CISA. Oh, please. Don't get me started.
Yeah, I
on
know. We're
CISA.
not talking about CISA tonight, all right? We're talking about children's services.
And how you guys are usually talking about the custody issues. I'd
Yeah.
like to link
Go ahead.
my issue and yours.
Okay.
When a parent in the middle of a custody battle knowingly makes a false report to Children's Services, as far as I'm concerned, custody needs to immediately switch to the other parent.
What judge in Cleveland recently said that? There was a judge in Cleveland that recently
I
said
didn't
the
hear
same
it from
thing.
a judge.
Yeah, it came
But
up
we've
like a
been
year
saying
ago,
it for
but
years.
I totally agree
This,
with you.
I have
That's-
had it, and I
Right,
also
I
want to
agree.
make it mandatory in both domestic relations court and in juvenile court. If there is perjury, there should be no discretion on the part of the hearing officer.
Amen.
It
Right,
is
I agree.
immediately call
Right.
over to the prosecutor's office
Right,
and charges be filed.
right. I
No
agree.
ifs, ands, or buts.
You won't get an argument from anybody standing in this. Well, maybe Pastor
Right.
James because he's
Yeah,
just
maybe.
obstinate.
Nah, I don't think I'll get a
But yeah, that's
argument
terrible.
from him. Because here's the thing. Some of the accusations that are made,
You mean like I beat my children?
worse, that are used predominantly against men,
I agree with that.
That's how
right.
I got involved.
some of the accusations that are made can so scar the child and the man. If criminal charges come out of this just because we are a vindictive little witch, no.
I like you.
And it goes.
I don't mince words. I don't.
You mean you're a straight shooter? I never noticed that about you.
Actually, yes. Especially with the old police special 38s. I'm very good shot with that.
Okay. I don't know if you know how I wound up doing what I do.
I don't.
I got served at a hockey game where I was a coach for my kids with a restraining order because supposedly I was an abusive father. Now I'm served in front of 300 parents. I can't go to the school. He was at a Catholic school. And if you remember the old orders, there was like 15 things you could pick from at the bottom what that restraining order was for.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't say. So we go to court and it's immediately thrown out.
Mm-hmm.
None of the parents at the hockey rink know that.
Right.
I go to the school and the head nun, whatever, I don't know what they call her, of the school says, "You're a child molester. You shouldn't be here." I said, "Where did you come up with that?" She goes, "It was on the bottom of the paper. It was the first one on the list of things that you could possibly be." She never read any further. But it was a choice. So now I had a problem there. I had to actually enroll my son in Cleveland schools to get him out of that school.
Ooh. Now that's child abuse.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh no, I told my son and his wife that if they didn't get on the stick and get my grandson enrolled in something besides Cleveland Public Schools, I would be down at juvie court so fast their head would spin and be taken custody because I felt it was child abuse.
I can't argue
Strong
with you.
statement, but yeah, it's true.
I'm sorry, we're
Sad
doing
but true.
we're doing better because we now have a 27% completion rate.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
No, it's 53.
Is it 53? Thank
I
God.
thought
Graduation rate is 53.
No, the test
Oh.
is 27%. They
Well, all
pass
I
it.
know is that my first grade grandson, I'll brag here, was tested this week and he's reading at grade 2, 4 months.
Cool.
I'm quite proud of that.
Good for you.
Open house last night. He refers to me as his other parent.
Aw.
He has a mommy, daddy, and the other parent, Amy.
At least somebody's in charge.
Yeah, he's more afraid of being bad with me. I love elephants because they're a matriarchal society. The oldest elephant rules the herd. Yeah, well, I'm the oldest elephant. See? So,
I'm not touching that.
Okay, back to the show. What other things do you want to do if elected?
Well, for one thing, we do need to do something with the schools. If you
Yes.
want to talk the best interest of children, some of our schools aren't. But the big balance, my district really shows where the balance comes in. Because in the 11th House, Ohio House District, we have one of the best school systems in the state and one of the worst. Cuyahoga Heights and Cleveland. We're going to have to find a way to fund them, but we can't bring Cuyahoga Heights down to bring Cleveland up.
Correct. But we have 2 governors that should be in jail right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not kidding. Taft should have gone to jail because
I know. I'm just laughing
he
because you're being you.
did not comply with a federal court order, which was to refund the schools.
Mm-hmm.
Our current governor has done the education governor, Mr. Strickland, hasn't done anything to fund the schools. And it's simple. There needs to be a school tax, take all the other stuff off, the property tax.
Mm-hmm.
You pay X number of dollars for every person goes to the schools, whether it's 65 cents or whatever, and how many ever students you get, the state sends you that money. Period. It's the easy way to do it, and it's fair.
Yeah.
Because
right now we're paying $6,000 per student in Cleveland. That does not count busing. That and best interest of the child in one young lady's life is to get up at 4:30, be out the door at 5,
get on the RTA.
Get on the RTA at 6 o'clock in the morning in Slavic Village, where we've got a rapist on the loose. Okay, she stands alone on a bus stop. Then she gets on the bus, she goes downtown, where she has to wait 45 minutes to get out to the School of the Arts.
That's heart-wrenching.
You know what her mother was told? Well, if it were my child, I'd just go with her to school every day.
Quite a hike.
Mom is on oxygen.
Wow.
Mom can't go
And how old's
walking
this little
like
girl?
that. 15.
She must be pretty special, huh?
Well-
She is a fantastic artist, but her other love is animals, and I'm trying to get her into the veterinary assistant program, which is local.
It's if you don't know the School of the Arts, it is amazing what they do
Oh
with
yeah,
the
I know.
students.
I know
Mhm.
there. Yeah.
Oh, she's quite the cartoonist.
Good.
Yeah, one of my foster kids went there.
Okay, so say that wanting to blend our professions again, custody and children's services.
She's
say
going to
there's
hit you up for a
custody-
job. I'm telling you, this is what's coming.
Hey, I'm looking at progressive. Hello, guys. Progressive. Say there's a custody battle going on, and this is something I don't understand fully. In juvenile court, as you're probably aware, the father basically has no rights to the child until he establishes his rights with the court.
Yeah.
The child is sometimes removed from the mother, who's the custodial parent at the time, but not given to the father. What would you do to help alleviate a situation like that?
First of all, federal and state laws both dictate that father gets first choice.
See, I never knew
it-
that.
it's next of
Where
kin.
is that? But in
Social
all the
Security
cases
said-
I see, they take the child out of the mother's home. If the father hasn't established his rights via the court, they put this child in foster care.
And then they take forever to do the paternity test,
Yes,
which is
exactly.
ridiculous.
Right.
Okay.
So, I mean, this.
If
this
you
is a
have to
situa-
move the child to a grandparent, why are we taking 30 days to do a background check when you can walk into the sheriff's department downtown
Correct.
for
Yeah.
a job,
Yeah.
get an NCIC run in 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Because that makes sense. But Mary Denahan was here the other day just for information. Well, 2 months ago.
I wasn't here. Remember, I took off.
Oh,
that
that's
day.
right. I forgot. But she said now you can go to the Cuyahoga County Coroner's office and you can get paternity done within 48 hours.
Great.
I don't know if there's a fee. She didn't know at the time, but she said now the coroner's office is doing it.
Excuse me?
The coroner's office is now doing paternity tests.
Why would the coroner's office be
They
doing
have because
The
of the
technology.
crime. Yeah, they have the technology.
Huh.
So I don't know if there's a fee or not, but Mary said that they're doing it and they can do it within 48 hours.
Okay, we need to check on that because the fee for paternity test is like $600.
I'm well aware.
Yeah.
I have the DNA.
Did you have to
magnet.
do it? Oh, you didn't have
No.
to do it. You were married. Yeah.
Aren't there
Yeah, my
some
advice to everybody-
private places too that do them now for
Yeah,
much
well, you
cheaper?
could-
1-800 DNA test.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are last time I called them for somebody, it was $425.
And you can
And
go to
back-
Buy Right and buy it off the shelf now.
Yeah.
Yeah, for $100, you can get a paternity test done and know the results, but that's not the correct paperwork you need for court. You have to pay more to get the paperwork for court. Isn't that ridiculous? I mean, they could do
Yeah.
a DNA test and tell you yes or no for $120, but you got to pay $400 more to get the paperwork that's acceptable to the court.
I have a bit of a problem too with this registry that they have at the probate court, where within 30 days of a child's birth, you have to register down there if you think you might be the dad, and if not, you have to go through this whole. What if she doesn't tell them?
Yeah. Well, would that
Better be
facilitate
nobody knocking on my door.
Would that facilitate a DNA test if they?
No, it just holds the guy's place.
Well, that's interesting. I've learned a lot from you today.
In place
Called
for
the
what?
punitive father list.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, so like there could be 12 of us?
Yeah,
Okay.
all for the same kid.
Is that,
You just go down and say, I might be the
incredible.
father of Susie Q's kid. You know?
I was LeBron's dad. It
Oh,
was
cool. But when you can do
Would you quit
things
putting that camera on me?
much quicker by other means,
Yeah, it's crazy.
they've got to get it. It's not that it's cheaper or it's to do it longer. It's just they want to collect that 52%, but don't forget the other 48's coming out of your back pocket.
Well, let me ask a stupid question. It's a county agency.
Mm-hmm.
We have sheriff's deputies that have access to those records.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can't put a caseworker, you can't give them that computer because then then you got HIPAA.
Actually, at Children's Services, they do have somebody who runs it within their building.
Okay. Well, that's what I was going to say. Why can't we get one sheriff's deputy over to do that? But if they're already doing it, then somebody beat me to it. Right? So they can read it.
We're passing notes. 7 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
7 minutes.
That's
Okay.
my favorite
The
number.
perfect
7.
number.
Yeah.
No,
what else
11.
can we talk
11.
about? Other problems with social services. Why do you say it's harder to get your children back with a dirty house than? I mean, what is
Okay.
what is the
The
process they have
majority
to go
of-
through?
The majority of children who are become legal orphans, which is what they become when you terminate parental rights, are not terminated for abuse or neglect, but something called dependency. Dependency is mom can't keep dependency basically means that the parents cannot do the job without the help of the county, roughly. Okay? So this would mean a parent who has mental health issues, has drug
Diagnosed
issues.
mental health issues, or alleged.
Alleged. Oh my, didn't you know a bachelor's degree in basket weaving and a 6 weeks course at Children's Services before you start your caseworker job is enough to diagnose bipolar?
I didn't know. How about that?
I need to
We've
go
been trying
get
to
a
figure
job.
out bipolar for years now.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, they all think
Alleged,
they know.
huh?
Yeah. Oh, and drug and alcohol abuse? Oh, don't let there be a beer in your fridge.
Okay.
Or a half-drank bottle of wine.
Really?
They don't bother to ask that came from New Year's Eve.
Huh.
You
Very
decide
scary.
to keep it in there to cook with.
Okay, so the caseworker comes in, alleges the mother has mental health issues, and then what process are they in?
Oh, then they start with psychological evaluations paid for by the taxpayer.
About what do those run?
If you did one yourself,
Yeah.
could go up as high as $2,500.
Wow.
But they have their own court person do it. What we like to refer to as whores of the court. They will give you whatever they want. I did not coin the phrase. I have to. I think that was Barbara Johnson who coined that phrase.
Wow, I haven't talked to her for years.
She's in Costa Rica now.
I have no idea
Wow.
who that is. Who is that?
She is an attorney from Massachusetts. Yeah, who was disbarred over fighting the system.
Wow.
Yeah, they ran her right out.
She's in Costa Rica writing a book.
Good for her.
Another book.
It's,
Okay, so again, we have about 3.5 minutes
well,
left.
I do have a serious question.
Well, I wanted to
Okay, go ahead.
finish what we were talking about. Once
Fine.
your child
I
enters
don't
the
count.
system for whatever reason, how, and I hear this on a daily basis, they've taken my children, I'm having a hard time getting them back. Any advice you can give to these parents in getting their children back? And let me cap that with, I've heard so many people say, I've done the case plan, I've done everything they told me to, and they
Bet
still
you they
won't give me
haven't
my children
documented
back.
the case plan.
What's up with
They
that?
haven't documented it properly. They are not pushing their attorney to do what the attorney's supposed to do. Please, 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 folks, would you get a bad attorney, turn them into the Supreme Court. We've got to stop these people who are living in $500,000 houses at $500 a case, called GALs and court-appointed attorneys. Okay, if you want the list of names of people who I'm talking about, not a problem.
Should we call your
Drop me
office?
my office, my cell phone.
Yeah, you can call my office too. What do you
I
think about
mean,
that
this
number?
is absolutely ridiculous. There's new GAL guidelines. You do know
Yes,
about those.
correct, yeah.
I've already started talking to Maureen O'Connor's people
Yeah, I know who that is.
about how she's running for the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice spot. About it's nice that you have these new guidelines, but they have no teeth. Because you report these guys, and all they do is go.
Seconds or minutes?
All they
3
do
minutes?
is say that they have. You didn't pay for them, so what's the point?
And let me go on record saying I spent a lot of time in court, and on several occasions in the past 4 or 5 months, I have seen them break the rules. They're supposed to go to a list to pick a guardian, and they go out in the hallway and pick a guardian. You know what I'm talking about.
There's one magistrate, which at this point will remain nameless,
Of
who
course.
really wants to have a list given to all the magistrates and judges at how many cases guardians currently have.
Right.
I hate to
Good
do
idea.
this, but I got to
Before
cut
they
you
do it.
both off.
Why?
If we want to get a hold of you, get involved in your campaign, how do we do it?
www.rozmcallister, McAllister, all one word, .com.
Is there a phone number you want to give out?
Sure, 216-577-0466. That's my personal cell phone.
And I
Ooh, nice.
just got yelled at by Marianne because I didn't tell you how to get a hold of Children's Rights Council. You can do that at 216-227-9111.
1 minute left. And don't forget, here's my spiel for tonight. I have a lot of police officer friends. Please remember to be kind to your cops. Police are really our friends.
When?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Stop
sorry.
it.
I live in Cleveland, 4th District. Don't know.
Yeah, I don't know too many of those.
11
but
dead
seriously-
women in one house. What can I say?
They missed
Seriously.
it. Who? You couldn't smell it? I'm sorry.
Yes, you could. Months later.
Yeah, I
I was
know.
there in December for a protest, and yes, months later.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It
Not
was
a problem.
wonderful having you.
Pleasure having you.
Show just flew by again tonight. Just so you know and our listeners know, if you want to listen again, it will be posted online within the hour. So you can continue to listen and send out the links and let everybody know that it's there, because that's what we do when we get back to our offices.
Oh, you do. I know. What?
I have a bigger mailing list than you. I know more than 3 people.
I can't help it. I like to lay low, you know.
Good night. Thank you
night.
very much.
Thank you. Ross.
Vote.
Log listening to this radio station. Radio station. K-A-Z. K-A-Z.
.org.